This is Montreal Now with Aaron Rand and Natasha Hall. CJAD 800.
That is James MENNIE. He's over at the Montreal Gazette. And Jim, might as well start off with the situation with Jean Charest. We found out, of course, I guess this is yesterday now, that he would in fact be throwing down, as you write, in Calgary. We had Tasha Carradine on a little earlier in the show, talking about the fact she is now supporting him, giving up her own aspiration to run for leader. So give me your take on this. We've been talking about this for a couple of weeks. Anything surprising in here to you?
Well, yes and no, because I listened to the interview you guys did with Ms. Carradine, and I'll tell you straight up, when I saw the announcement that he'd be launching his campaign in Calgary, I kind of laughed out loud, because even though Ms. Carradine was saying, he wants to unite the country and he wants to show that he has support in the West, this, as far as I'm concerned, it's kind of he's announcing his arrival in the campaign. It's the equivalent of his driving a Buick through the front window of the Conservative Party of Canada. Calgary is very significant, not just because it's out west. This is the riding that was represented by Stephen Harper forever. He is not. He is sort of symbolically stepping into the theoretical lion's den. Stephen Harper's made it clear repeatedly he's not crazy about having Jean Charest as head of his party. And the fact is, Charest probably turned around and said, "Oh yeah, well I think that's where I'm going to launch my campaign right in your backyard." And I got to tell you, I hope Ms. Carradine is right, and I hope the tone of the debate is stratospheric. I, however, have a vision of that leadership race sort of being more like a scene from a Mad Max movie where everyone's having a fight on a moving truck. Uh-oh. Okay? And I got to tell you, if the choreography that I see forming here is going to work out, Pierre Poilievre is going to be the first guy who gets tossed off the vehicle. Okay? We're hearing now that Patrick Brown is going to get in, so now we have someone more central Canada. But once again, Yes, Jean Charest is very very distinguished politician. He has a tremendous CV. Premier of Quebec for like 12 years, or 9 years, and as Ms. Carradine said, he saved the damn country. He's the guy who basically slapped together a real no campaign back in '95. But here's the thing, Jean Charest. And I'll clean this up for radio. Jean Charest, politically speaking, is the last guy on earth you want to mess with. This guy, we've discussed, or I've mentioned how I feel that this iteration of the Conservative Party is nastier, is more GOP, is more willing to make personal attacks. I got news for you guys. If Charest is in this, and he's going to be in it, a lot of people out there are going to need more than a Twitter account to deal with it. Okay,
interesting.
This guy is not, as Ms. Carradine pointed out, he's okay in the private sector. If he's coming back, it's because he wants to be here, and if he wants to be here, he is going to fight like hell to get that job. So all I'm telling you is the decision's going to be made in September. We have a general election here in Quebec in October. I'd say between now and the fall, we all of us had better pace ourselves because it is going to be one hell of a summer.
You're describing a Jean Charest here, and I know you mentioned this earlier when we talked about it, as kind of a pit bull here, but that's the sort of reputation that Pierre Poilievre already has. How's that going to play out?
Well, Jean Charest was doing this. I was in the room when Jean Charest gobsmacked Bernard Landry during a leaders' debate. I think it was back in 2003, and I mentioned this very public mugging of the Harper government when he took the transfer payments as Premier of Quebec and turned them into a tax cut. It's one thing, 100 or now 250 characters, oh, I'm so tough. Look at all the likes that I got. Maybe Pierre Poilievre or other individuals are good at getting likes. The record shows that Jean Charest is very good at getting votes. And in the end, that's what counts. In the end, that clip, and he gives great clip, okay, is what people will remember, either negatively or positively. It's not going to be some kind of motto. It's not going to be some kind of brand. It's not going to be a meme. This This is the real thing, man. And I'm telling you right now, if he's back in it, and people, and you mentioned this, you alluded to this, Aaron, that it's going to be low. Yeah, it's going to be low. But the thing is, Jean Charest is very good at doing that. And in the end, this is going to be for more than the leadership. This is going to be for the future of the party. What kind of conservative party is it going to be? Is it going to keep being just, the Reform Party wearing a pair of glasses and a fake mustache, or is this going to be a genuine conservative party of Canada? And whether Jean Charest, or as I hear now, Patrick Brown or Leslie Lewis is going to produce that remains to be seen. But the stakes here are much higher than any other leadership battle in the Conservative Party, and indeed any other leadership battle for any federal party in this country.
Who will Harper support? If he's definitely not supporting Charest, obviously, will he support any of the other candidates, and does it even matter?
It's an excellent question, but with all due respect to Mr. Harper, we're not talking about a very deep bench here. So, does Stephen Harper want to publicly support Pierre Poilievre? Does Stephen Harper want to publicly support Leslie Lewis? It depends on what their next tweet says, I guess, right?
Seriously.
So, but this is what I'm talking about. These are the differing disciplines politically that we're seeing with these candidates. I think if Stephen Harper is as smart as people think he is, and he is smart, you can disagree with him, but no one's ever going to say this guy isn't smart. He may just sit this one out. He may work behind the scenes, but frankly, I'd be surprised to see any kind of a public, endorsement or even statement on the state of the race from Harper.
He's only 62 himself. Charest is the 63, right? So I'm surprised he's not. I mean, you'd think he'd be chomping at the bit to get back into the race himself.
Who, Harper?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Just because of his dynamic with Charest.
The dynamic with Charest, but the other issue here is the loss in 2015, where he went from having, it was one of the most stupendous political losses, electoral losses, I think, in Canadian political history, because this guy was running the table. Remember, he called the election in August. And forgive me, I'll direct this to Aaron because we kind of flew over this whole thing together. But he called it in August. It was going to be perhaps the longest or second longest campaign in Canadian history. And by the end of it, remember what this statesman, what this political genius, what this Machiavelli was doing? He was pretending he was a game show host. Remember that? When he was out there, it was supposed to be some kind of a game show they staged, and how the Liberals were taking money away from you.
Oh, yeah, of course, yes.
I've forgotten about that.
Yeah, and the terrible ads they ran,
But believe me, if push came to shove, I'm sure Jean Charest would be happy to remind you.
Well, there you go.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But I still think Harper's sitting there. If he could and he thought he stood a chance, I bet he's just dying to.
Well, the last time I saw him, that picture I took with him and Tom Mulcair, they're having lunch at the Ritz, and I don't think I've ever seen Stephen Harper that happy, ever. Out of politics, out of the public eye, and just busy writing a book or whatever it was. So, that may have been a show. It certainly didn't seem that way. But when you talk about, kind of this whole idea of how low this is going to go, I think maybe that's the best thing that could happen to this Conservative Party. I kind of hate to say it that way, Jim. Do you know what I mean? The fact that, yes, there's some actual interest here. They're two guys with very differing views, and if they fight it out, at least you know who you're voting for at the end of the day.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But like I say, I think a lot of the conventional wisdom right now that are giving us names like Pierre Poilievre, I give you 6 months into this campaign, and we'll be talking about a different group of people.
We shall see. Hey, Jim, thank you. Appreciate it.
Adama.